It can be hard to make a character that's compelling and fun to play at the table. I might be able to help. Now I want to stress that I'm not touching mechanics here. There are plenty of channels that are much better than I am when it comes to optimization or min-maxing, especially when it comes to how much damage you can do and what kind of crazy combos you can pull off. This is about story, roleplay, giving yourself an extra angle to have fun at the table. Now I've learned as far as development of character goes, different styles work for different people. If one of these doesn't help, try another one. Oftentimes we think the path to get somewhere is linear, when you can easily get to the same place with different means. Let's start with the action method. Step 1. Do an action that you'd see in the world that your TTRPG takes place in. For example, say it's D&D, specifically a traditional fantasy world. What's something our character might be able to do? Sleep in the wilderness? Great. Step 2. How do you do that action? We nail down the specifics of this activity, so it's not just broadly saying, I rest in the woods. How does this long rest take place? Does the character make shelter? Do they have a tent? Or do they just find a spot and sit down? My character, he just finds a spot and sits down. In a situation like this, I definitely push myself a little bit more to see how picky or lax the character might be. Anywhere? Yeah, anywhere. Step 3. Why? We ask ourselves for a personal reason why we would do that specific action in that specific way. We want this to be on purpose for the character. So it's not just he does it just because. You have time to think, so consider why he would just sit down. Maybe he just sits down because he doesn't want to waste time setting everything up. Why does he view that as a waste of time? Maybe he used to live on the run, where he'd have to leave any place at a moment's notice. Every second that was used to build a fire was seconds he couldn't sleep, and he needed sleep the most. And from here we can keep branching off and building. What was he on the run from? Why was he running? And how else has that shaped his behavior? From here we can jump back and figure out more behaviors. If he was on the run, what else did he do out of pure necessity for survival, for speed, for fear? And now, we've got a solid starting point for this character. I tend to use the action method when I need something quick. The more you practice this, you can end up being able to create in the moment when the DM asks, hey Matt, what is your character doing right now? He's gonna order a drink and settle the bill immediately. He doesn't want to leave anything unsettled in case he has to run out. Technique 2. Pivotal event. This is one of my favorites to use when I have time before a game. I like to think of a pivotal event in this character's life. Something they'll always remember. Something that shaped them forever. It can be negative, or it can be positive. This is where you could go with the rogue trope. My parents were killed. I grew up an orphan. But you don't have to. The main focus is to make the event pivotal, an impetus to change the character, so they were never the same after that. For example, I was in love with a woman named Fiona, but I wasn't good enough for her father. I didn't have the noble blood he wanted. He kicked me out and told me never to come back. I swore to her that I'd come back a legend, a hero, someone who he'd beg to marry his daughter. Now it's up to you how you want this to change your character now. Is he going to be spiteful towards nobles because of her father's prejudice towards the lower class? Is he going to take his promise seriously and become a legendary hero despite the father? The answers to these questions can help guide you in your roleplay. Not to say that you need to have answers for these now, but when the situations come up, you can think back to that past event and see if there's anything that would connect this moment to that one to make it a little easier to figure out what to do. For example, if he decides to take the promise seriously and become a legendary hero, you could interpret it like so. We could just take the money and split. He considers it, but then thinks about what Fiona's father might say. Typical thief. I knew he wasn't good enough for you. And he says, no, I can't do that. We have to finish this job. Or maybe if you meet an NPC who's treated poorly because of their social and economic status. I just wish they gave me a chance. My character remembers being treated poorly because of his lack of noble blood. He'll walk up to her and say, I get it, we'll help you. For the third and final technique to kick off creating a character, I want you to choose an emotion, one that you're comfortable playing. Anger is possibly the easiest one to start with, but I would caution to make sure to keep it in character and let your character sit at a 2 or 3 out of 10, rather than being, ugh, this isn't my favorite brand of ale all the time, which could be funny for a little bit, but can easily be exhausting for everyone for longer periods of time, including you. But start from that emotion and tell us why your character feels that way now. Is it because of an event? Is it because of a series of events? Is it because of the current state of things in general? Let's go with the current state of things to make it different from the second technique we used. What is the current state of things that's making my character so angry? If the GM provided a prompt of some sort, this is the perfect place to use it to start, and the GM will appreciate you making your character character's motivation tied to the plot too. For example, so this game is set in a land that's ruled by iron fists. The Grand Republic holds a tight grip on the world. All trade, all invention, every facet of life must be approved by them. Your characters live under this oppressive state, with no hope for change until you suddenly receive a letter. A mysterious M has some ideas for how you can make some waves. Will you accept this challenge, or will you allow yourself to stay docile in the palms of the elite? In that case, maybe the state of living under this Grand Republic makes this character angry. If so, then we ask the important question, why? Is it because they wish they could earn more? Anything beyond the meager rations and scraps that the Grand Republic doles out to the common folk. Or maybe they're higher up, and wish they didn't have to do the dirty work that the Grand Republic needs to maintain the society. Let's take the latter. If we're tired of doing the dirty work, then maybe when all the characters meet up for the first time, the NPC could ask, "An Inquisitor? I gotta admit, it was a long shot when I sent you the letter. I didn't think you'd actually show." My character's gonna growl at him with a scowl on his face. "You said we could change things. Is that true, or have you wasted my time?" Now with this example, we can see why we'd want to hover around a 2 or a 3 out of 10 for anger. If we were already at a 10, any kind of little jab, whether it's from an NPC or a player character, could easily tip us over and bring us to blows, which might be a problem. Or it could cause a, "That's it, I don't need this, I'm leaving," kind of situation, which if it isn't diffused, doesn't let us play the game. But starting with that emotion, we were able to develop a starting point for this character, a bit of detail as far as their backstory goes. So those are 3 of my favorite methods to build a character from scratch. I hope that helps. If so, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps me out, especially with the algorithm. If you have any questions, would like some clarifications, or just want some more roleplay advice on specific topics, let me know. But until next time, stay safe and take care.